Hey folks, I'm here to shoot a contest entry this afternoon. This is for Beth over at B-Sides Records. She's hit 300 subs. And she's having a room 237 contest. Room 237 being the room you don't want to go into in The Shining. She is a big horror movie buff, which kind of strikes me as being odd considering one of the reasons I like to go to her channel is because she has such a soothing voice and it's just calm. It just feels like a good place you want to go visit and relax. Uh, she just doesn't strike me as the horror movie type, but she is. So people always surprise you, don't they? Anyway, um, so the first question: um, two albums that look alike. Well, the first one that popped in my head was this one. It's the 77s, Sticks and Stones. Love this band. This was the album that I came in on. Um, and this album is, well, they're kind of a blues rock band. And there's definitely a lot of blues rock on this. But Mike Rowe, one of the principal songwriters, man, his musical palette just runs the gamut. So he gets into old time country, old time rock and roll, brings elements of all that to this. So the album that this looks like is Little Richard, self-titled, um, with Buck Ram and his rock and roll orchestra. I don't have that album, so I'm not doing that one. This is my whoop. As I try to drop a record, um, this is my answer for number one. First, we have Meet the Beatles. I don't really need to talk about this record, do I? I think everybody knows who the Beatles are. And then we've got Phil Keaggy and Sunday's Child. Um, since we know the Beatles, I'm going to talk about Phil Keaggy and Sunday's Child. Of course, now notice the similarities where they've got the what is that Parlophone emblem. You've got the Myrrh records, and of course they both say stereo. A little bit different placing of the band members, but I think we get the gist. Anyway, since we know this album, I'm going to talk about this just briefly. This is Phil Keaggy and Sunday's Child. Phil Keaggy being a former member of the 60s, early 70s rock band Glass Harp. Then he went into kind of the Jesus music movement and started doing solo work. This is actually a 1988 album. He's a guitarist from Ohio. Actually has nine fingers because he lost one on his right hand in a childhood accident with one of those pump wells. I don't know what happened, but it's amazing. This guy plays better with nine fingers than most guys do with 10. I often refer to him as a Jedi guitar master because he's so good, but he's also a little tiny man. He kind of reminds me of Yoda. So, um, anyway, on this particular album, he just kind of went with he was a big Beatles fan coming up in that era, and he just let his Beatles influences run rampant. Now, he sounds a little like McCartney anyway, and he's met Paul McCartney. I've seen pictures online of him and Paul McCartney together. I think they met at a wedding that where Phil was playing, and but he really let it go on this album. It's a fantastic album. Now, sound wise, I would say this album has probably more in common with some of the later, maybe mid to later Beatles albums as opposed to the very early ones. But I'm not the biggest Beatles uh, expert, so don't listen for yourself and then tell me if I'm right or wrong. Here's kind of the cover on the inside. Um, Great album. Awesome cuts all the way through. I put some links to some of these songs. He even has my favorite vocalist, Russ Taff, here with, I'm not sure who's in the picture, but Russ Taff and Randy Stonehill come in and do a duet with him, or a trio with him on Ain't Got No. The reason I was pulling it open, I wanted to see the band members' names. This was a great band. Sunday's Child was a great band. It was, from what I understand, Rick Kua, who is a great artist in his own right, bass player that used to play with the Outlaws, and one of the great. I've met Rick Kua. He's a great guy. And then Lynn Nichols, who played in Chicago Vera and a lot of other projects, and I think Mike Mead on drums. I'm not seeing the names. I'm not going to. We'll move on to question 2. And but I'm telling you, if you ever get a chance to get a hold of this, I don't think it's available on vinyl. It's CD only, I believe. But it's incredible. Pick it up. All right. Question 2: show 3 albums by any artist. I thought I would pick somebody that we don't talk about much. I don't think I've heard mentioned on the VC, and he should be. Unfortunately, these albums I don't have on vinyl. I have them on CD. But it's Tony OK. All right, so I first became aware of him when there was a Christian labels getting started called What Records, and What Records was going to be more of the I think more intellectual type, smart rock, not because Christian rock could sometimes be a little bit sloganeering and a little bit, not have a ton of depth. And this was just going to be more, guys like Tony OK and Mark Hurd, great singer-songwriters. Tony OK is kind of a pop rock feel. Brilliant guy. This was the first album. Now, all 3 of the CDs I have actually came out on Gadfly, and I'm kind of glad about that because, and I'll get to that when I get to the second one. This is Romeo Unchained. Some great songs on this CD. Perfect World and You Belong With Me, just 2 great love songs. I Handle Snakes, great song about religion. Emotional War Games, great song. You Don't Belong Here, You Will Go Free, great album. That's Tony OK, Romeo Unchained. And then Romeo Unchained, Notes from the Lost Civilization. I wanted a mainstream pressing of this because they deleted one of the songs in the Christian market. That was the song What Women Want. He wrote the lyrics. He wrote basically what women appear to want and what women really want, but he felt like the listener was smart enough to make that distinction. but if you listen to it, it's a bit abrupt, especially when he kicks off the song talking about, I know what these women want. They want sex. Yeah, that's true. I know what these women want. They want money. Yeah, that too. But if you listen to the whole song, you kind of get exactly where he's coming from. Um, but they obviously they cut that from the Christian market uh, pressings of this. Um, Children's Crusade is a great song. The Executioner song, uh, Stay, Without Love, great, great stuff. And then finally, Olay, which is was produced by T-Bone Burnett. This is a '97 Gadfly Records release. I'm not sure exactly when the bulk of it was recorded. I haven't heard anything out of Tony O'Kay in a long, long time. I picked this one as the third one because it has one of the great songs that he wrote on here called Hey Lady, which is a song about lazy parents that resort to, well, really slapping and hitting their children rather than doing some actual parenting. He talks about this lady. It's a story song where he talks about a lady that is slapping her kids around in a grocery store, and everybody's, well, the reaction is that they're afraid to say anything for fear she just want to slap them that much harder just because she can. And believe it or not, I was just a couple weeks ago, I found myself in that position. Really, those kind of parents just, I mean, man, if you don't want kids, if you don't want to put in the work to raising kids, don't have them. Jeez. All right, so then came question 3. Show, I guess, a band title, album, song, something with the number 7. And you might think I would go running right back to the 77s. Plenty of sevens throughout their entire discography, but I thought that would be a little too easy. And I was sitting and thinking I could hear the song in my head, 7, and then I thought, oh, wait, I know who that is. Bloodgood, Rockin' a Hard Place, Christian metal release from 1988. And the last song, 7. Epic song. And there you have it. And I've taken what should have been a short video and made it really long. So, all right. So, if you aren't subscribed to B-Sides Records, I can't imagine you're not knowing about her if you know about me. So, but if you don't, I'll put a link. Go summer. Go hang out. It's just it's just a nice place to visit. So, anyway, hope you're having a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.